Ready? 1, 2, 3. That's high. It's too high, isn't it, really, that? All right, going on 3 just gives you too much time to think about it. Let's go on 1 this time. Okay, ready? 1. Catch me, catch... Ow! Ow. I am not dead. I'm not dead.
Portal 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and today I want to revisit it to figure out what exactly made it such a memorable experience. Now, for those of you who don't remember, Portal 2 is a puzzle game that involves shooting portals with a portal gun, and it was released back in 2011. Looking back, I think there are a number of things Portal 2 did particularly well. It had great level design, excellent game mechanics, solid pacing, beautiful aesthetics, and just some amazing graphics for its time. But what really stands out to me is its ability to tell a genuinely good story. You see, Portal 2 isn't just a puzzle game, it's a story. A story about a girl trapped in a facility by 2 psychotic AI who want to kill her. That's what Portal 2 is really about. It's not about solving puzzles or even portals for that matter, it's about Chell and Wheatley and GLaDOS. You see, the thing I love about Portal 2 is it doesn't even for one moment neglect story. It's the central focus of the game, and it stays that way from the minute you hit start. Shooting portals is just a means of telling the story. If you actually watch some of the developer commentaries, the original idea for Portal 2 didn't even have portals in the pitch. The focus instead was kept on story from the start. Think about it, a game called Portal without any actual portals. I find that hilarious, but at the same time you have to respect the dedication to the narrative, and that's something I like to see. Now I just want you to think for a minute. Think about what Portal 2 would be like if there was no story. Just test after test after test until you finally beat the game. Now what does that sound like to you? Because it sounds like nothing more than your average iOS game to me. There's nothing special, no reason or incentive to start or keep playing. Why bother in the first place? So you have to ask yourself, are games just a means of passing time? No, of course not. They're an emotional experience filled with ups and downs, and by the end of it, you learn something more than just mastering a jump or beating a hard level. So it's no wonder why I love a game like Portal 2. It's an emotional roller coaster. Not only that, but it's one finely written and well executed roller coaster. Just to give you a taste, remind you of the level of excellent storytelling back in the day, I want to show you the opening scene. It's kind of a long intro to the game, but there really is a lot there, so pay attention to all the little details, the music, the dialogue, the surroundings, and just take it all in as if you were playing the game for the very first time again.
Never mind, say apple. Apple. Okay, you know what? That's close enough. Just hold tight.
All reactor core safeguards are now non-functional. Please prepare for reactor core meltdown.
Okay, look, I wasn't going to mention this to you, but I'm in pretty hot water here. How you doing down there? You still holding on? The reserve power ran out, so of course the whole relaxation centre stops waking up the bloody test subjects. Hold on, this is a bit tricky. And of course, nobody tells me anything. No, why should you tell me anything? Why should I be kept informed? You know, about the life functions of the 10,000 bloody test subjects I'm supposed to be in charge of. Why? It's close. Can you see? Am I gonna make it through? Have I got enough space? Just gotta get through here. Okay, I just gotta concentrate. And whose fault do you think it's going to be when the management comes down here and finds 10,000 flipping vegetables? Alright, see, no, I hit that one. I hit that one. Okay, listen, we should get our story straight, alright? If anyone asks, and no one's going to ask, don't worry, but if anyone asks, tell them as far as you know, the last time you checked, everyone looked pretty much alive. Alright? Not dead. Okay. Almost there. On the other side of that wall is one of the old testing tracks. There's a piece of equipment in there that we're going to need to get out of here. I think this is a docking station. Get ready. Good news, that is not a docking station. So there's one mystery solved. I'm going to attempt a manual override on this wall. Could get a bit technical. Hold on. Almost there. Remember, you're looking for a gun that makes holes, not bullet holes. But don't worry, you'll figure it out. Seriously, do hold on this time.
I bet you were ready to start shooting portals again, weren't you? That's the level of storytelling I'm talking about. You can't help but want to start playing after that intro. Sure, it might be a little long, but if you break it down, you learn so much before the game even really starts. You're set up with a goal, a dramatic question to escape the facility. You meet the amazing personality core Wheatley, and we find out that maybe he's not the brightest or most trustworthy AI. I mean, he did just confess to basically killing 10,000 people and then proceeded to perform manual override on a wall. Some foreshadowing there if you missed it. But not only that, we get to see the inside of Aperture Science for the very first time, a massive, old, dilapidated facility which is extremely industrial with test subject after test subject, all stacked up on top of each other like a beehive. And oh, the music. The music is absolutely perfect. It completely sets the tone for the rest of the game, and by the time you get to the testing area, you're pumped up and ready to start playing. If you haven't noticed, I've romanticized the intro a little bit. But now imagine if there was no intro. You just, boop, started right back in the testing area, and you begin testing immediately. It would be meaningless, all that great information we just learned, and in its place, nothing. My point is, we need to appreciate all the careful craftsmanship that goes into what some might consider to be a boring first 5 minutes of the game. There are so many little details and subconscious ideas that are planted in your mind to set the tone of the game and shape your experience moving forward. This atmosphere created in the first 5 minutes is so important, so vital to creating a meaningful experience, and Portal 2 does an excellent job putting its best foot forward with an impactful start.
And we're only seeing the top layer. It goes down for miles. All sealed off years ago, of course.
So now that you remember what it's all about, let's take a quick look at the story structure. Portal 2 breaks down into your typical Hollywood 3-act structure and does a good job giving each character their own moment to shine. I want to point this out because Portal 2's story isn't anything different from what we've seen before. It uses the universal hero's journey, which is why the reason Portal 2 is such a good game is not necessarily because of its story as a whole, but rather how the story is told. For example, especially during the beginning of the third act, each of the levels are uniquely designed to give you a sense of exploration, adventure, and discovery. The levels naturally push you in a certain direction to show you something or move the story forward, all while making sure you stay in control. This gives you the great feeling that whatever happens is the result of your own actions. Along the same lines, Portal 2 does a really great job of making sure gameplay stays uninterrupted. Throughout the game, dialogue is integrated into each of the tests, building up to each big story moment. Wheatley and GLaDOS are constantly talking to you as you're moving, keeping the game fluid and signaling importance whenever your movement is temporarily restricted.
You've probably figured it out by now, but I don't need you anymore. I found 2 little robots back here, built specifically for testing.
Oh no, he found a cooperative testing initiative. It's something I came up with to phase out human testing just before you escaped.
Going more in depth now, one of the greatest things Portal 2 does is fully immerse you in the world of Aperture Science. And it's able to do this by maintaining a high level of attention to detail and treating you like someone intelligent. Notice how information is constantly hinted at, allowing you to slowly unravel the full picture as you play.
Did anything happen while I was out?
The testing area is just up ahead. The quicker you get through, the quicker you'll get your $60.
Hold on, who?
Carolyn, are the compensation vouchers ready?
Yes, sir, Mr. Johnson. Why did I just... Who is that? What the hell is going on here?
You're only given information directly when you need it, and the rest is left for you to figure out. It's a careful balance, and it's one of the reasons this game is so good. There's so much about the story that is either hidden or you don't realize, but it ends up adding so much to the overall experience. One of the best examples of this is something that most people take for granted. Everyone's always raving about great characters, but we often forget the importance of a well-designed setting. Aperture Science is an enormous facility with a long history and a story of its own. Throughout the game, it ends up showing just as much growth as any of the characters, and this is because of the close relationship it has with the storyline. Everything that happens in the plot is directly reflected by a change to Aperture Science. In the beginning, we notice the facility falling apart. Everything is old and overgrown. You could even say that it's dying or dead. This would make sense considering GLaDOS, the previous head of the facility, is dead herself. Then when GLaDOS is resurrected, not only is this a fall in our plot, but you fall deeper into Aperture Science. As GLaDOS starts to gather her strength, you see the facility come back to life again. Things start getting repaired and the test chambers start looking cleaner. Something similar happens when Evil Wheatley comes to power. Once more, we fall deeper into the bowels of Aperture Science, and as the story progresses, we ascend through the facility back to him. During our time at the bottom, we constantly hear explosions and see things falling down. And finally, when we get up to Wheatley again, we actually see the facility being physically ripped apart one test chamber after another. It's such a simple yet effective technique to visually show us what's happening during each segment of the story without the need for any explanation. If something's good or bad, we know right away just by being aware of our surroundings. It's subtleties like this that really sell the story.
Bam! Secret panel.
Here's another thing you probably missed. Wheatley's animations. He's a literal sphere, but somehow he manages to show more emotion in his animations than most humans in other games. Just think about that. The whole game, your only two companions are robots, and yet you are still able to develop strong emotions and connect with them because of little things like excellent animation.
Don't make eye contact, whatever you do. No, thanks, we're good. Appreciate it. Keep moving, keep moving.
This leads me into our next topic, character design. Characters are the heart and soul of every story, which is why it's no surprise Portal 2 has two very intelligently designed characters. Many games will try to win your heart with a full cast of characters, but Portal 2 keeps it simple. Although there are only two characters, they are each fully developed and add depth to the game through both internal and external conflict. William Faulkner once said the only thing worth writing about is the human heart in conflict with itself. And although our characters are both robotic, this is a very clear quality in both of them. Both of their character arcs force them to come to terms with some sort of internal struggle as well as a battle with whatever is going on in the central storyline. We see this in Wheatley when he fights the itch for testing and when GLaDOS rediscovers her long repressed human consciousness. All Wheatley wants to do in the beginning is be meaningful, and when he finally comes to power, he realizes that he's just not cut out for it.
Quick, this way. Here's an interesting story, you might like this. I almost got a job down here in manufacturing, but guess who the foreman went with? Only an exact duplicate of himself, nepotism. Ended up giving me the worst possible job, tending to all the smelly humans. Sorry, that's, no, I wouldn't say smelly. Just attending to the humans. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry, no, the lift, yes, sorry, keep forgetting. This body's amazing, seriously. I can't get over how small you are, but I'm huge. Actually, why do we have to leave right now? Do you have any idea how good this feels? I did this. Tiny little Wheatley did this. And don't think I'm not onto you too, lady. You know what you are? Selfish. I've done nothing but sacrifice to get us here. And what have you sacrificed? Nothing. Zero. All you've done is boss me around. Well, now who's the boss? Who's the boss? It's me. You have no idea what it's like in this body. I have to test all the time, or I get this itch. You know, it must be hardwired into the system or something. Oh, but I tell you, when I do test, oh man alive, nothing feels better. It's just, that's why I've got to test. That's why I've got to test. So you're gonna test, and I'm gonna watch, and everything is gonna be just.
Warning. Core overheating. Nuclear meltdown imminent.
I think we're in trouble.
So much space. Need to see it all.
I wish I could take it all back. I honestly do. I honestly do wish I could take it all back. And not just because I'm stranded in space.
I'm in space.
I know you are, mate. Yeah, we're both in space. Anyway, you know, if I was ever to see her again, do you know what I'd say?
I'm in space.
I'd say, I'm sorry. Sincerely. I am sorry I was bossy and monstrous. And I am genuinely sorry.
I'm in space.
For GLaDOS, it's the opposite. She knows her rightful place as controller of the facility and lives purely mechanically for science. But when she's turned into a potato battery, she rediscovers the human qualities within herself and gains a new understanding and respect for the world.
Do you know the biggest lesson I learned from what you did? I discovered I have a sort of black box quick save feature. In the event of a catastrophic failure, the last 2 minutes of my life are preserved for analysis. I was able, well, forced really, to relive you killing me again and again, forever. You know, if you'd done that to somebody else, they might devote their existence to exacting revenge. Luckily, I'm a bigger person than that. I'm happy to put this all behind us and get back to work. After all, we've got a lot to do, and only 60 more years to do it. More or less. I don't have the actuarial tables in front of me. But the important thing is you're back, with me. And now I'm on to all your little tricks. So there's nothing to stop us from testing for the rest of your life.
I know things look bleak, but that crazy man down there was right. Let's not take these lemons. We are going to march right back upstairs and make him put me back in my body. And he'll probably kill us because he's incredibly powerful and I have no plan. Well, I'm not going to lie to you. The odds are 1,000,000 to 1, and that's with some generous rounding. Still though, let's get mad. If we're going to explode, let's at least explode with some dignity.
Oh, thank God, you're all right. You know, being Carolyn taught me a valuable lesson. I thought you were my greatest enemy, when all along you were my best friend. The surge of emotion that shot through me when I saved your life taught me an even more valuable lesson, where Carolyn lives in my brain.
Carolyn, delete.
Goodbye, Carolyn. You know, deleting Carolyn just now taught me a valuable lesson. The best solution to a problem is usually the easiest one. And I'll be honest, killing you is hard. You know what my days used to be like? I just tested. Nobody murdered me, or put me in a potato, or fed me to birds. I had a pretty good life. And then you showed up. You dangerous, mute lunatic. So you know what? You win. Just go.
This right here, my friends, this is what builds a story. Believable characters that show growth and react to your actions in-game. And Portal 2 does this with robots. They are literally the exact opposite of humans. They're inhuman. Computers don't feel, and yet Portal 2 is able to convince you otherwise. It's brilliant. There's one last character I haven't talked about though, and it's one of the most important things Portal 2 does right. You. Thanks to the undefined nature of our voiceless protagonist Chell, the game allows you to fully integrate yourself into the world of Aperture Science. So if there's one more thing Portal 2 does right, it's how you interact with the story. And that's the magic word right there. You. Throughout the entire game, the name Chell isn't mentioned a single time. Pretty much the only term ever used to refer to the player is you. Which is why Portal 2 isn't just a game about a girl trapped by two psychotic AI. It's about how you escape them. It's about how you overcome the impossible. Too many games today try to force you to be someone you're not. They try to shove a personality down your throat and tell you to be someone else. But the truth is, the only person you are and know how to be is yourself, and Portal 2 recognizes this. You decide what to think of the other characters, and what you do dictates how they respond. Your actions matter. You are Chell, and that's what I love about this game. You are the center of the story, your decisions matter, and you decide how you want to play. At the end of the day, Portal 2 might not be the greatest game you've ever played, but it doesn't try to be anything more than what it is. It might be a short puzzle game, but that's what makes it so good. Because what it does well, and that's something I can say for very few games today. It's simple, it's balanced, it's consistent, and the story complements the gameplay in exactly the way that it should. It's a rich game full of life and personality, and it successfully transports you to the beautifully complex world of Aperture Science. So now you know why Portal 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, and hopefully you understand why good storytelling is so important for gaming.
Alright, I've been thinking. When life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Make life take the lemons back. Get mad! I don't want your damn lemons! What am I supposed to do with these?
Take the lemons.
Demand to see life's manager. Make life rue the day it thought it could give Cave Johnson lemons. Do you know who I am? I'm the man who's gonna burn your house down with the lemons. I'm gonna get my engineers to invent a combustible lemon that burns your house down.